Welcome back to the Green Machine Live. A second go at it there. Sorry about that, folks. The decision to go ahead whilst playing a massive DJ set in the 52,000 capacity stadium probably wasn't the brightest idea, but you live and you learn. Anyway, party atmosphere here in the Johan Cruyff Arena for the Dutch. Not so much if you're a Republic of Ireland fan. We're going to get to that in a second. Of course, it's finished. Netherlands 1, Republic of Ireland 0. Where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us. It's going to get the table up here now. Here is the almost final table. Anyway, we've played the most games out of 8 games. France won. What score was it? Like 79-0.
It was 14-0. Two converted tries, Dave.
2 converted. Yeah, it was more like rugby, wasn't it? So France topped the group with 21 points. Haven't played 7 games. The Dutch qualify automatically on 15 points. Haven't played 7 games. And, of course, Greece are on 12 games. They play France in a dead rubber game. Anyway, they've got a playoff. And, of course, we finish with 6 points. 6 points adrift of third. We're in fourth. 6 points adrift of third place Greece. And, actually, that could be worse if they manage to get a win against France, which they won't. And, of course, Gibraltar, the only team we beat in the whole campaign. Gibraltar last on nil points. So, yes, it's finished. Republic of Ireland 0 and Netherlands 1. And I have to say, Nick, I know he's going to put a spin on it, the manager. I know he's going to put a spin on it. But that was part. Before you answer, actually, don't forget, guys, you can have your say. I want to hear from you. What did you think of that? What did you make of that? Did you sit through it? Were you here? Tell me about it. But Nick, he's going to put a positive spin on it, the manager. You know, we had a goal disallowed. We only, whatever. But that could have been 5 or 6, couldn't it? That was really poor from
yeah, look, I mean, looking at the stats there, I think it was 1 shot on target, 3. Bit of loudness there, bit of celebration going on behind you, Dave. Look, it was shocking. Yeah, it was a really poor performance. I think 1-0 absolutely flattered us. When Weghorst turns your back 3, runs half the pitch, and buries one in the corner. You know, there's serious issues there. No structure again. Square pegs into round holes. You know, when Alan Brown is ending up as a right wing back again towards the end of the game, you know, there's serious issues. So many glaring issues. I'm looking forward to seeing the end of them, Dave. As I said, 1-0 flatters us. It should have been about 4 or 5. The Dutch had absolutely no end product to them. They're really, really poor. I didn't recognise half the players on the team sheet. That is essentially their third team, Dave, that we played today.
It was out of canter, wasn't it?
Starters. Yeah.
It was out of canter. I mean, I was watching it there, and the atmosphere here. I know they said it in RT, but it was like a preseason friendly. It was like I was watching the Amsterdam tournament. Remember that you used to have in the early 2000s? It was just so poor. It was out of canter. Like the 26th minute, and they're doing Mexican waves around the stadium. We were just running around chasing shadows when the Dutch decided to string 1 or 2 passes together. I just thought the whole thing was a shambles. I think Matt Doherty, as your captain, I think that sums up the whole thing really. How that guy is still getting caps, and he's made captain. And there was I don't know if you saw it right in the first half. I was watching. I couldn't believe it. He clumsily runs forward, right? Finds himself like he's done amazing runs. Somehow. I mean, it was the worst run I've ever seen. I've seen Martin move quicker. I've seen Martin move with more grace. Well, run for the bar maybe, right? Finds himself in position. He lays it off to Ferguson. Ferguson loses it. Fair enough. He was injured anyway. And then the Dutch have the ball. They're moving forward. We win it back. And we can't lay it off quickly. And we're in a good position. We can't lay it off quickly because Matt Doherty is just kind of strolling back.
Looks disinterested, David. I mean, he kind of epitomizes.
Always looks disinterested.
Yeah. But he epitomizes how the team's looked over the last while. And to give him the captaincy is outrageous. I mean, Josh Cullen was poor today, but I mean, he's captain Burnley in the Premier League. Darrell O'Shea even has. I know he's with Burnley now. Didn't he?
I would have given Alan Brown
captaincy. Yeah, O'Shea used to captain West Brom now and again. Alan Brown, wasn't great tonight, but one of his better games all the same, and he wanted to get on the ball. But look, Dave, it's you can't say that one of those players is playing for the manager. They know that the gig's up. It's frustrating for fans. As I said, Doherty epitomised it. A strange decision as captain. A lot of strange decisions tonight. The fact that Andy Moran. Andy Moran not playing for the under-21s last night. They've gone down 3-2. Fine margins there, and he hasn't gotten a minute. Jamie McGrath comes on, and with his only real 2 touches of the game, he misplaces 2 very basic passes. I'm looking forward to seeing the end of him, Dave. To be brutally honest, I'm looking
No,
forward to seeing the end
no,
of Stephen Kenny.
nothing it does make sense. Why would you take Andy Moran, right, a couple of days before a vital Euro 21, under 21, sorry, Euro qualifier in Norwich, lost 3-2, by the way. Why would you take him from that squad and then not give him a chance here? Like, it's a poor
Yeah, the logic, Dave. The basic logic is we have a friendly against New Zealand on Tuesday, which I can't see myself going to now. The ridiculous, the ridiculousness of that game. First of all, the fact that they're giving James McLean another send off, and that they're Stephen Kenny, who technically is out of the job tonight, the fact that he's going to be given another game, like it's going to be a weird one. Be one for the families, I think. But the fact that they have a friendly next week, the under-21s could have had more on last night, and he could have been capped maybe against New Zealand. There's zero logic to it, and there's been very little logic in the Stephen Kenny era. And tonight was just another example. Like he what frustrates me, Dave, is look, I didn't think we were going to beat the Dutch tonight, but it was a poor Dutch team. We could have gotten a draw out of it. We played with four at the back against Greece. We were awful, but we were playing players out of position. And then we played Gibraltar, who, yes, lost 14-0 tonight to France, but we played with our players in position. We played a 4-3-3. It looked a lot more fluid. And he's gone back to five at the back, playing lads in their uncomfortable roles. I mean, Jason Knight playing out in the left for Ireland. He's a very good player. He's very good at keeping the ball. But Jason Knight's end product for Ireland has been very poor for the simple fact that he's not used to playing out wide. It's all these things that just defy logic, Dave. And it's as a fan, it's very hard to feel a connection to this team. It's very hard to feel sorry for Stephen Kenny anymore. It's just basic things that anyone with a bit of footballing interest, I would say, could spot. And it's just they're taking the piss at this stage. It's just gone to an embarrassing stage, and you can only laugh at it now.
Yeah, I mean, like I wrote, an article earlier on, saying this is the deadest of dead rubbers. This is like what an Ireland fan must have been like in the sort of the final period of the Owen Hand era, where it was just very sort of, what's the point here, although we had much better players in that era.
Yeah, I think this is worse. I think this is worse on many levels.
I've never known this. This is worse, almost worse than the Steve Staunton era. Probably is worse, actually. I mean, because he's had, we don't know what 3 years of Steve Staunton would have been like, but this is just, nothing makes sense. Square pegs in the rail hole.
I think look, it's an extreme comparison. I think with the Steve Staunton era, you knew that another manager would get more out of the group that were there. I think the difference is now, the Steve Staunton was even a year in charge, just over a year. The difference is here. We've seen the glaring issues for so long, and he's gotten a very, very easy run by the media. There's been so many excuses made for him. He's twisted so many stupid stats and stupid things. Like I haven't seen him come out tonight. There might be people watching who've seen maybe a post-match interview, but I mean, he'll probably spin it. Oh, we only lost 1-0 in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Like that.
We were very unlucky to have the goal disallowed.
Yeah, but that was the Dutch third team. And we one shot. We one shot on target. Alan Brown straight into the keeper's arms. So I mean, he likes to spin things. I think wasn't he saying something like, France only beat Gibraltar 3-0 in Gibraltar. They've after winning 14-0. And we struggled against Gibraltar at home. So
we did.
There's so many things wrong with it. I don't think Kenny's a bad guy. I don't think he's clueless. I think in a way as well, you have to look at Keith Andrews. There's an evidential lack of coaching in that team, Dave. And I mean, modern day football, passing the ball around is the bare minimum. You have to look at movement off the ball, and there was absolutely no movement off the ball. So there's an evidential lack of coaching there. And Kenny's philosophy was heavily influenced by Anthony Barry. Anthony Barry's gone a long time, and the big issue with this, and I know you're bringing the Staunton era in, I don't quite agree with that totally, but the big difference is Staunton, the failures of Staunton were very evidential early on, and Staunton was gone before that European Championship campaign ended. Kenny was given not only one European campaign that was over before it began, he was given 2 Nations League campaigns which were absolutely pathetic. And he's after been given, a World Cup campaign, 2 Nations League campaigns, and another European Championship that was over before it ended. So he's basically been kept on in 2 campaigns that were over before they began, and that's unforgivable, Dave.
I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, with the World Cup, when we have to remember, there was a process there. We thought it was going to be a process. We thought it was going to be an end product, and it was. And that's the thing
But
that
it
I
was all
can't get my head
talk.
around.
It was all talk. It was propaganda, Dave. It was propaganda
Well,
because people talk about
it,
process, and people thought the process was that Kenny was playing a passing game. Any of those any professional footballer, Dave, can play that style of football, and
yeah,
B that he was blooding young players. But Dave,
but
the players that are available to us now are young players. Any manager would have capped those lads.
no,
It's
I,
nonsense.
I,
There,
I am
there was
agreeing.
no there was no project. There was no structure.
I am agreeing with you there.
It's all propaganda.
In part, but I mean, at first, like when you saw, okay, it wasn't a great start. We looked like we were turning the corner at the end of the World Cup campaign and a little bit to the Nations League. But unfortunately, and he did change it, but only for a short period of time, and he got found out. And unfortunately for Stephen Kenny, when you're at the top level, an international footballer is the top level, because you only have him for a couple of days to coach them. You don't have them all season to coach them. You get found out. He got found out. They adapted, and he didn't adapt his tactics, and he's been found out, and he's never changed. We played. It's like Anthony Barry brought in the 5 at the back, then he brought the 3 centre and the 2 wing backs.
Yeah.
It's like, that worked, and he just kept going with it. It's madness.
Well, it didn't.
Madness.
It actually didn't work. I mean, the way I look at it is when that 5 at the back was brought in, we come off 7 games without scoring a goal, and then we scored 2 goals against Serbia. We lost the game, and then we didn't win for I think 11 games, and then he actually switched to 4 at the back against Andorra, who were beating us, and then we beat them 4-1. So
4-1, yeah.
The big problem with Stephen Kenny, Dave, is there was no plan B, and there was no adaptability with players. When you're managing an international team, you have to have adaptability, and you have to maximize your player pool. Like Mick McCarthy, and not that I agree with him, Dave, but Martin O'Neill and Mick McCarthy have been banging on about the whole idea of results. International football at senior level is not about building for the future. That is done at under 21 level. That is done in the youth system.
Yeah.
You have to get results, and you have to maximize your play. If you have a limited team like we do at the moment, we have some excellent players. Like I honestly think Evan Ferguson's a phenomenal player. Nathan Collins was awful tonight, but I really think there's a decent player there. Liam Scales is a very good player.
Don't know about name.
Hold on, Dave. Just 2 seconds, Dave. Just because important point.
Okay.
It's just when you have a spine of a team there, and when you have limited players around those lads, you have to maximize them. You have to maximize them and get the best out of them. That's what good international season coaches do.
I mean,
Kenny has used this excuse. I'm building for the future. And as a result, we've lost out the World Cup campaign.
Well, he was at the beginning. He was at the beginning built for the future. So you have to be fair to him there. He was. It was a unique situation.
I know, but that narrative was ramped up when the results weren't going his way.
Well, of course it was. I mean, everything's probably all managed.
He said we won the best back 4s in Europe when he took over, and then all of a sudden, when results aren't going away. Oh, now we're building for the future. We lost out on a World Cup campaign in a very poor qualification group.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dave. Sorry, I know I'm dominating.
Let me speak. I know I'm in Amsterdam, but you're dominating the conversation like a fucking mistress. Let me speak. Jesus Christ. Look, it's all. No matter what we say about it, it's all turned out to be bollocks anyway. It's turned out to be fruitless. It's turned out
propaganda.
But every manager uses propaganda. Let's be honest. They all do it. When it's not. Now you're going to hear on Tuesday. You're going to hear, no matter what the result is, I gave 24 debuts. Blah 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 blah. That's the thing that he does. We know what he does. That's what Kenny goes back to. The bottom line is, he hasn't adapted. When it's going wrong, he hasn't changed his tactics quick enough. When we were found out, he hasn't adapted that either. He only went back to a 4-3-3 when we were 2-0 down, and we lost 2-0 to Greece, didn't we, at home?
Yes.
Yeah, he only went to a back 4 again when we were 2-0 down to Greece. Here again, you're thinking you got someone like Andy Moore into the squad. You plucked him from the under 21s. He obviously something different. Use him. He doesn't. Jamie McGrath came on. He actually had a decent game. It's just sorry, not Jamie McGrath. Mikey Johnson had a decent game. McGrath wasn't too bad either, to be fair. He's been found out. Look, when he came in, he did have a bit of a weird mantra coming in. He was. You look back now, you think he should have stayed on the under 21s. He was doing a really good job there, and then give him another 2-3 years in the under 21s and bring him through. You never know, but of course that's all hearsay now, isn't it? We don't know. The bottom line is he's out of a job, and he's a decent man. But at the end of the day, he's not doing the job he's been paid for. He's not getting the results. He's not even getting the performances now. 1 or 2 passes from the Dutch, and they were cutting through just like that. I mean, the Wakehorse one, It was a lovely finish, but oh my God. I mean, Nathan Collins now. I struggle to see what the hype about Nathan Collins is, if I'm being honest with you. I really do. I've watched him. He has had so many poor performances for the Irish team, right? Going forward, yeah, he's very good. He's very skillful on the ball. But when it comes to reading the game, when it comes to sensing the danger and sniffing it out, he's very poor. The amount of times he just goes on his own and gets caught out. Look at the first goal. And then Ryan Manning takes him out. It was a shambles. And he made so many errors, Nathan Collins. I don't know. He needs to focus on the defending more.
It is an issue. He's reading up the game. But you can see that there's a massive burden on him to carry the ball out of the back three. That's always been a massive burden. And to be fair to him, he's used to playing on the right hand side of the back three, as opposed to in the middle. That's where Johnny Egan usually plays, doesn't he? And he can, he's a very good player taking it out, and he can read the ball a bit better. But no, Collins is an excellent player, I think. But he has been poor for us. But again, Dave, I've watched him the last couple of weeks at Brentford, and he's not making those kind of mistakes. So when it's happening again and again for Ireland, that's where your manager, that's where your coaches have to step in, especially John O'Shea, a centre half with the Champions League and Premier League medals. So that's where he has to say, well, Nathan, this is the position that you need to be taking. This is the approach that you need to be taking, and clearly that hasn't happened, so it's a combination of a lot of things, Dave, and we look at some of the limited teams who are going to the European Championships and who've qualified over the last few days. I know the game isn't played on paper, but you can see that there's managers there who have maximized what's available.
He looks like
Stephen Kenny hasn't done that.
No, and he hasn't. Listen, he can make all excuses he wants. At the end of the day, he's got players there. He hasn't got the players to play the style he wants to play. Now, that doesn't mean we haven't got the players. There are players out there that can do better than that absolute shite out there. And that's what that was. And that's what it's been for the last while. It's been absolutely rubbish. And I'm sitting here and it's just embarrassing to watch at times. Some of the players he's picking, I don't get my head around it. And I like Stephen Kenny. I do like him. I really wanted this to work. It hasn't worked. There is someone out there that can get more out of this. I do believe we have the players. We got some good quality there. Evan Ferguson, again, he was taken off with a hamstring injury, just in case anyone wasn't aware of that. I think it's all connected, isn't it, when you're young, growing pains. Came in with a back injury, and then he went up with a hamstring. That's why I was thinking, please don't take him off. But fair enough, he's injured. Brian will be delighted about that. There's a manager out there that can get better out of these players than that. That is a decent. There's a spine of a good side out there.
Well, there's a couple of things that basic things that a manager can get right that will be half the battle. The first thing is picking the best available squad. I don't think Stephen Kenny's been doing that. Then picking the best available starting 11. I don't think Kenny's been doing that. And then picking players in their positions, which Kenny has not been doing. So already he starts on the back foot, Dave. So any manager worth their salt will actually get those three things right. And then your tactical stuff, then your philosophical, your playing philosophy side of things comes into it. Because as you said, Dave, it's a very short amount of time to work with the players. And when you're telling a player, like say Will Smallbone, for example, who's been playing kind of in a deep line role, he came in against Greece as a number 10. And he's 3 days to prepare for that. And Liam Scales is playing centre half in the Champions League, coming in at left back against Greece. All those kind of things are just wrong, and it puts us on the back foot immediately. So it has to be stripped back to the bare bones of the basics. Stephen Kenny overcomplicates a lot of things when he explains it, and it's beyond logic, some of it. But look, I think there's plenty of managers out there. People will say, "Oh, I don't know who will get the best out of this team." As I said, it'll be a seasoned international manager that you'll have to bring in there who will pick the best available squad, who won't have a rigid favoritism to players. I mean, there's no way Jamie McGrath should have been playing out there tonight. No way Jamie McGrath should have been playing. The last game,
be devastated.
The thing is, Dave, I mean, Jamie McGrath came on against the Dutch in Dublin, and his first touch of the ball, wasn't a 1-2 from a throw-in, and he just booted it straight into play. And he literally did the same thing twice today. And you look at it and you think, Andrew Moran's on the bench. He's after been sacrificed for the 21s to come into the senior squad, and Jamie McGrath's been trusted again.
If you're Jim Crawford, how pissed off are you over that?
Well, at the end of the day, Dave, I mean, it's Kenny's call, really, but it's a very poor call. So as I mentioned last night, Dave, it was fine margins. We were 2-1 up. You needed someone like Moore just to get a bit of control of the game. I also think there were other issues within the 21 squad. I don't think we were set up necessarily correctly. But that aside, yeah, if I was Jim Crawford, I would be frustrated. I would be frustrated, especially the fact that we have a friendly game next week where he could have been drafted in. You know, I mean, I know they're playing Italy. But you're looking at that Norway game thinking, oh, maybe we can get a result from this. And the Italian game, I don't know, like, is more going to go back to the 21s now. So, yeah, if I was Jim Crawford, I'd be very frustrated. But I think as an Ireland fan, and I suppose we're taking it from the fan perspective, Dave, it's just a baffling call. And Didi Hamann, by the way, in the pre-match, I know you wouldn't have seen it, but in the pre-match was absolutely livid. Now, he went a bit extreme. He said there should be people within the FAI picking the squad, which is complete horseshit, to be honest. But you can see how livid he was at the fact that this decision was made, and it was completely justified. Now, not the idea of an admin staff member of the FAI picking the team, but the fact that he was missing for the 21s and he didn't feature tonight, it kind of justified a lot of what Hamann was saying, apart from the whole FAI selection thing.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I've said about Stephen Kenny, lovely man. I do think there is a role. We won't get bogged down in this. So don't you dominate me in the conversation again, Nick. No. I see the whip in your hand there. I think there's a position for Stephen Kenny in Irish football somewhere, just not in the dugout. But yeah, at the top level, you get found out. This isn't, no offense to League of Ireland. Jesus, they'll be coming after me now as well with the Flares. This isn't League of Ireland. You do get found out at the top level. You got coaches there, you know, Ronald Koeman, European Championship winner, 1988. You know, these guys, they know the game. They really know the game. And he would have looked at that and gone, yeah, they're going to play 5 at the back. Doesn't matter. You know, we're easy to play against. And, you know, Ronnie Whelan said about the Dutch on the commentary. I did have it in one ear, just so I picked up on a few little things while I was watching it live. And, you know, he said the Dutch will always start well at home. And he did, like we did against them. And, you know, we just never got going. And it was very, very poor. Obviously, we're still a bit emotional, still a bit high or low, whatever way you want to put it.
You're the one in Amsterdam, Dave.
I'll tell you what, I was in a bar earlier on, and I was sitting there, and like some guy like just starts, you know, lighting up next to me. I'm like, okay. Probably was a bit. I was very hungry at the munchies when he came out. You know, is that what he say happens? I wouldn't know because I'm you know, being a teetotaler, not all my life, but you know. Anyway, before we go on to the comments, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming from this anyway. By the way, in the comments, if you are watching the Stephen Kenny press conference, do give us a shout actually and let us know what he said, because we were 06, we're too busy doing this.
He came off about 5 minutes ago from the post match. Okay. Yeah, and
so did tell us.
No, I didn't see it because I was talking to you.
I mean the guys out there did tell us. Right. Before we move on to that, by the way, you want to say Ajax Arena or the Amsterdam Arena. Hold on, I'm just going to show you this here now. This is what I'm looking at. Absolutely gorgeous stadium there. I've always wanted to visit this. I was always mad about it in LMA Manager 2001. That shows you my age there. But unfortunately, a lot of Irish fans had issues getting into the game. I remember it did catch my eye, because right over there, I'll show you, it's where the Irish fans are, where those X's are, just to the left of those X's. That's where the Irish fans were, with the glass in the way. And I did notice it was quite empty, and I didn't know why until Martin, this lovely fella here, taking a piss. Do you know a video that? And he's like, "You're not putting that on the chat." I was like, "Oh, come on, Martin, we're in Amsterdam. You wouldn't." That's a screenshot from a video, by the way. Oh, I'm gonna actually, you know, might actually try to get another few stickers out and blackmail him. But anyway, he didn't get into the game till about 25 minutes into it. But here we go. I mean, look at this here. This is from Martin Prendergast, and I hope everyone's okay. But this just shows you sorry, got a bit distracted there. But this just shows you the carnage trying to get into the game. There were stringent checks by the Ajax stewards, I presume they're Ajax stewards, coming in. People didn't get in for ages. Remember Stephen, the guy that when it was in Athens, and of course that's another thing. apparently they only had 2 gates open, didn't have enough gates open, which is mental because the amount of staff here, everything in Amsterdam has been to a really high standard. The transport, the stay, everything, the food, fantastic. I was actually a bit shocked by this, but they had only 2 gates open apparently. Martin will tell us more on the preview for the New Zealand game in a couple of days. But apparently they were very stringent with the checks of security, and it just took ages to get in, which is a bit very disappointing. But having tried to go to the toilet at half time, they're not very good at doing queues over here. But Stephen, sorry, that's where I was going with that. Stephen, who came to me in Athens, do you remember? And he came over to me and didn't know what he was on about because, I couldn't quite hear him. And then he was telling me that there was a crush on. But he yet again was caught in that. This guy has no luck whatsoever. And he was actually saying that, he got kicked out because he was having a go at them about the crowd, the health and safety. And the security kicked him out of the ground. Just shambolic, Nick. I mean, what is it with these UEFA tournaments? Like, they just don't know how to queue.
I know, yeah. I don't know if it's a post-COVID thing and just... I don't know if it's to do with crowds as well or to do with security or whatever. I don't know. I mean, you work in security, Dave. I mean, I know a lot of people would have lost jobs, I mean, within that kind of industry because of football matches not taking place and crowds not being there, and have stadiums become over-reliant on technology that's glitchy and that kind of thing. Like I was at the FAI Cup final last week, and, one of the one of the ticket machines wasn't working, and it caused momentary bit of havoc. Like, so, it's sometimes modern technology can cause a lot of issues, but I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I'm not,
we have a plan B.
Yeah.
We have a plan B. My experience, remember, when I used to work as a supervisor at the West Ham Stadium, the new West Ham Stadium, and I actually quit because it was a shambles for the first few games. For the first season, actually, and I thought I was going to get the shit knocked out of me, to be honest with you. Almost did a couple of times. Getting circled. I mean, with clipboard, getting circled by a bunch of West Ham fans going, oh. And, normally you have a plan B. If the tickets go down, you get a supervisor out or somebody from that, and you have a plan B, and then you do like a spot check. Because a lot of those guys, but then, of course, for football, there is that risk. But, yeah, it's just common sense, especially in England after, the disaster of Hillsborough. Crowd safety, the flow of people. Obviously, Euro 2020 final is a complete, that was different because it was just after COVID and people just forgot how to do things. The police forgot how to police. They forgot how to run a tournament. It was just that simple. But normally they're quite up on that and the ingress of people. We want to keep a flow. We don't want people standing on steps, sitting down. It's always this flow. And just over here, there just doesn't seem to be that same attitude towards that. I don't know what it is, like one in and out systems, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, I just hope everyone's okay. We're going to move on to the comments, but yeah, just hope everyone's all right, and no one got hurt. So right, Glenn Forbes, we're going to start with you, pal. Alan Brown was so bad he looked like a Man United player. Hey yo, good man, Glenn. And also says that he saw Scales was good. He showed his quality. Brandon Walsh, Stephen Kenny last month says he loves playing with wingers. So what does he do tonight? Reverse to 3-5-2, plays without wingers or any kind of creative players. I've never seen an Irish team so easy to play against. It's actually just sad now. Yeah, as I said, Brandon, earlier on, just watching us play, just one or two passes and they were cutting through us like a hot knife through Dairy Gold. McGunneth, a team clearly done with the manager, apathetic, which is worrying. Blue and Gold over on YouTube asks, is Kenny gone yet? He will be on Tuesday. Do you think they'll take him out? Because, I mean, they can't get rid of him now. Huh? He's essentially without a contract, isn't he?
Well, like, as far as I know, the arrangement is once the European Championships is over, he's gone. But, knowing the FAI and the wokeism and shite that's been going on for the last little while, they'll give him a farewell game. Like, they're bringing James McLean back for a farewell game. I mean, what is there to benefit from that? He got his day out with his 100 cap. Maybe it's an opportunity to play the likes of Andrew Moore or play some of the younger lads. I don't know, but it's all a bit strange, Dave. It's a weird fixture as well. Going for someone like New Zealand. Get
the juices flowing.
Technically, Dave, he should be gone, but and you maybe put John O'Shea in there on an interim basis, or even I don't know, maybe someone within the FAI. You probably couldn't have Jim Crawford in there with the Italy game, but even someone like, Tom Mohan, or I don't know really. But no, he'll be there. He'll be there, and he'll get sympathetic applause, I think, from some section of fans. But look, it's a strange one.
It is a strange one. Adam Kavanagh. Afternoon from Vancouver. How you doing, Adam? Flat. No other words. Some players have got considerably worse under Kenny. Partly 89 minutes sums up the past 4 years. At least he got a minute, other than any more in. Bill over Irish Football Blog. Can we just all appreciate Bazunu for a moment, please? Very, very proud of him. He did have a blinding game today. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism. Probably could have done a bit better for the goal, but I don't know how he could, because it's on his near post, and that tends to be the rule. But he was excellent tonight. Without him, it could have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. But goodness, imagine the foresight of giving Lee Carlos this window, a full week of training prior to this game, before a few more days in camp before a nothing game against New Zealand. Nope. Keep Kenny in to appease. Blue and gold again. Doherty, captain of national team. What a joke. He's not interested. Does he even know the national anthem? I think he's kind of one of those players that, if he acts aloof, it makes him sort of, like a continental player. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes him sort of, he goes from Matt Doherty to Matt Doherty. But no, he's absolutely poor. Just shows no interest. When it was, if you could get 2 players, the complete polar opposite, they happen to go off at the same time, him and not Jay McGrath, him and Jason Knight, 2 complete polar opposites. He ran himself into the ground, Jason Knight. Absolute fabulous player. Glenn Forbes, what's with Matt Doherty's haircut? He looks like a medieval Disney villain. Plays like one too. McCunless, the dwindling League of Ireland Taliban who have switched to appease the League of Ireland. Hold on. We'll start that one again. Yes, to appease the League of Ireland Taliban and the football hipster media who are waxing lyrical about the grenade shoots and upcoming players. Is that green shoots?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? That must be it. Sorry. Michael Foley, how are you doing? I fell asleep at the 70 minutes. I'm 56 hours behind. We look like we're 56 players behind. 6 hours behind. Good man. I was thinking 56. Jesus. Kieran McDermott, get David Moyes after contract finishes in May, in my opinion. I think he's going upstairs, Kieran. Apparently they're booting him upstairs. McGuinness, alas, now the same people who criticised previous managers for complaining about players and celebrating Kenny stating that he would never criticise the player base are now stating that. Liam Reid, Irish team were shocking tonight. Hard to listen to you lads do podcasts and have never kicked the ball in your life. I have. I tell you what, Liam, I was a very good 5-a-side player. Yeah.
Right, so we better cancel tonight then, Dave. We better shut the whole thing down, I suppose, yeah.
Can't have an opinion. We never kicked it. We haven't played a professional game.
Yeah. Fan podcast, but we're not allowed to give opinions, yeah.
Why would you go to fan podcast and go, you're not allowed to give an opinion, you never kick the ball? Would you fuck off?
Don't think this is for you, Liam. God,
no, Liam. No. I mean, just Jesus Christ.
Get out of it.
It's like those people that go on Lansing Road, the whole 5 of them in the last 4 years, and say, it's a shy page. Then what are you commenting on? Fuck off.
Piss off and jog on. Like, we're not forcing you to be here.
It's not as if I got somebody with a gun, like, Liam, you better watch that. Anyway.
Anyway, strange people out there.
Strange. Martin Shields, over years, get a lot of the away games. Tonight couldn't get train over, but it's very frustrating to keep backing a match that isn't working on a team. Now that just is lost. It is lost. No, we didn't lose. It's lost. That's a great way of putting it, actually, Martin. But goodness, we don't have the players. Cultist behaviour. We do with the players. We do. Gio Clancy. In the old days, there would be someone on the pitch yelling and trying to urge on the team, keen or similar. But they all look disinterested. Kenny's a poor motivator. Look at his interviews. How could he inspire a team? Yeah, look, his media skills aren't great. Apparently, though, I have seen him angry in a few of the press conferences that go, that aren't broadcast, shall we say, and I've seen him get fired up, and you go, okay, yeah, this guy.
Which in itself shows he's out of his depth. It's just...
Fair.
I mean, Martin says it. Martin says it as well, and I love Martin, but it's the one thing I disagree with. He says, Stephen Kenny gets, when he gets riled up and he really gets going, he's very impressive. And it's like, It's like, yeah, but I mean, you have to have some degree of composure and control, as a manager. You can't be just
Yeah.
ranting
All
and
right.
raving
Fair.
and speaking a good game.
Fair.
What would I know, Dave? I've never kicked the ball in my
You
life.
never kicked the
Apparently,
ball now. You never kicked the ball. Thomas Brennan, 100% agree with your analysis, lads. Don't tell Liam Thomas. Poor Dutch team. 3 to 4 in the midfield had combined 7 caps. Kenny said it was to leave with the smallest margin of defeat. Did seem matter. It kind of worked. Well, Gavin Zuna made it work anyway. John Foy, how you doing, John? Lost 1-0 to a not full Dutch team. Gavin was the only one who showed up tonight. Absolutely. It was so poor. Thomas Brennan, when we could have come away with something. Oh, that was a continuation of your previous point. Sorry, lads. I'm Marty Ray. Any bottle Euro playoffs? That was against Slovakia. Well, we lost some penalties, to be fair. Stephen Dunn, Kenny out of a step. Yeah, to be fair, I wanted to give the man a chance. We all did. To be fair, we weren't one of these that were putting the boots in early, but yeah, just not up to it. And new era next week, I suppose. John Foy, Matt Doherty just said they were playing against a top nation and it was a close game. He would say that. He would say that. It wasn't close. It wasn't close at all. Michael Foley, Kenny was found out after his first 2 games. I wouldn't. We won't get into it.
I disagree with that. I mean, the one thing is, I was doing an article today that's going to be released later in the week, and I was just doing a little bit of research. And I mean, thinking back to that first game, the Bulgaria game, wasn't Stephen Kenny's first game, and even the Slovakia game, they were nice, balanced teams. We were playing decent football. We did play decent football in the early stages of the Stephen Kenny era, but a lot of that was down to the fact that, one, he was actually picking the best available 11, which he was doing. And also he was picking players in their position, and then it just went rogue. And it went downhill. So I actually think the early, yeah, and I mean, I think he hit the panic button when we weren't scoring goals, and he hit the panic button when we weren't getting results. And to be honest, Dave, not a huge amount has changed. The only thing that's really changed is we beat a few kind of lower ranked nations, and we beat Scotland 3-0, which is going to end up being the highlight of the Stephen Kenny regime.
It looked like it clicked. It did look like it clicked at one stage at the end of the World Cup campaign. It did. And I thought we'd kick on. I won't get into this too much. And then, of course, first couple of Nations League games, you go, oh, God, what's happening there? The first one, you kind of forget. But yet again, in Yerevan, too slow. Yeah. It wasn't working. You can see after half an hour it wasn't working. Changed the tactics. He kept going. And then the 70-minute, they stood off and bang, he hits it in the back of the net. Because, that's why we could see so many goals from outside the box. Because we stand off these players. Same again. The only difference was it was actually inside the box, just inside the box. It was the same problem. No one's pressing. There's no aggression in the side. That comes from the management. That comes from the coach. Trapattoni did it with John O'Shea. He turned him into a bit of a dirty bastard, which was what was missing when he played for him. He was dirty because Trapp wanted him to be aggressive. That comes from the coach. Anyway, we'll move on. I'll be here all bloody day. John Foy, Matt Doherty said he wants the whole coaching team to stay. And of course he does. He just made a fucking captain.
I've actually got the quotes here, Dave, from Matt Doherty. This is him speaking to RTE. So from Matt Doherty, like I've said many times before, this group needs to be coached well, and that's exactly what we've been getting for a long time now. I hope he stays on for the game. I'd love to see him and the coaching staff stay. If people really saw what it's like on the training pitch, what it's like in the changing room, how he cares about his players, just generally how they set up, the attention to detail they have, I think he'd be hard-pressed to find someone else that can deliver that. Now, I'd be saying the same if I was just made captain of my country after, being poor for so long now.
What's he gonna say? No, he's shit.
And I appreciate in a way, like Doherty's worked for some really top coaches. Like he's worked for Diego Simeone, who he probably didn't understand and who didn't play him, and he played for Antonio Conte, who didn't play him either. So Mourinho, I don't know. It's Doherty is really a mood player, isn't he? He hung Martin O'Neill out to dry, and probably rightly so. But I think when he's getting his own way with the coach, he'll get behind him. When he's not getting his own way with the coach, he will not get behind them. So, it's in any player's best interest who's getting selected by the manager to back them. But, a player, I mean, day one of media training, you don't criticize your manager. You don't criticize your manager.
No, you don't make headlines. Don't make headlines. Just
and you don't see. I mean, you can't see that. As I said, like the movement of the ball was non-existent. The end product has been non-existent for a long time. There's a lot of basic things going wrong. There's a lot of basic things going wrong, and that does come down to coaching. So it's not like you can say it's all well and good behind the scenes, but you know, you hear of players who train very well and don't play well. So it all applies.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Michael Foley, big problem with Kenny was his appointment. And John Foy says about Kenny, he says Holland are a world-class side, Kenny says, because John did say to us that Kenny was on the telly.
Nonsense.
Fully agree with propaganda. If Ireland scraped a draw tonight, RT off the ball, Muppets will be trumping Kenny again. John Foy, Kenny says Holland are a good team.
This is the worst Dutch. This is the worst Dutch team I've ever seen, Dave. The worst Dutch team I've ever seen. They no end product tonight. They were so poor, so poor.
They're out of counter. They were celebrating beforehand. They knew they were going to beat us.
Yeah.
Jim Nolan, I live in the US. Stop paying to watch until they get rid of Kenny. Who carries a record in football this bad?
Very bad record.
David Lacey. Who would you like to see get the Ireland job? For me, yet again, Lee Carsley.
Hervé Renard for me. He'll get the most out of those players. He will get the most out of those players, I think.
Fair. Michael Foley, Jim Nolan today's was live on FS1. Okay. Right. Kenny Denhunt, thank fuck he's going. That's Kenny. Martin Shields, the FAI is such a mess. I wouldn't be surprised if he gave the contract. Could you imagine?
You never. It wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't put it past them because like they might turn around and say, oh, we only lost, you know, by 1 goal against the Dutch and the French, you know, in 3 of the games. You know, I would look. Stranger things have happened, Dave.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm going to try and power through these last few. It is almost midnight here in Amsterdam. Did Kenny ever have a plan A, B, and C? I was a Kenny out from the very start, as you know. Who next? FAI is broken, looking for taxpayers' money, but break the payment rules. Who wants this job? For peanuts. There'll be plenty of takers out there as well. And no, he never had a plan B or C. John Foley, Kenny says Holland were a bit better than Ireland. Dave McGuinness, some of us knew this wouldn't work 2+ years ago. It amazed me that people stuck with it and believed it for so long. Why? Based on fucking what? Hope, David. Hope. That's what it was based on. Marty Ray, Neil Lennon for the gig. Oh, Jesus, no.
The party be pretty good.
Oh, yeah. The team talks be interesting. Dave McGuinness, look at the Finland and Bulgaria games in Nations League 2020. Where's the improvement? Why the fuck do people think this would work? Oh, geez. David's on one tonight. I can see the comments going down. I bet if you take the best of GA managers to Ireland team, you would get better results. Probably would. Dave McGuinness continues. Why do people say that they were seeing was beautiful to watch? What was beautiful to watch? It was much from day one with zero improvement. Dave McGuinness again. Horrendous waste of 3 years. No improvement since the UNL Nations League in 2020. John Foy, season ticket won't be worth buying next year with lack of games now. The price has been put up. Then more scandal in the FAI. There's shambles from the board down. You would think lessons will be learned from Delaney. Mark Doherty. Oh, Doherty. Sorry, Kenny Post came interviews are embarrassing. He gets lost. Yeah, they are quite uncomfortable to watch, actually. Glenn Forbes, Doherty was standing by him in the post-match interview. Of course, he was mentioning his care for the players and the coaching the team improving. Would you rather see the players stand by him? Yeah, I would. I mean, look, he's going anyway. There's no point in putting the boot in. What you'll really see it when he's gone and this book's released. That's when you're going to hear the real story, what you really think. And maybe it'll be the same. We don't know. Marty Ray, Doherty needs to go with Kenny. Yeah, go with that. Craig Dempsey, shambles, should never got the job. Ristard, the Dutch were happy to leave our wingers, send it in, they win it back. They were. Glenn Forbes, in the Kenny interview, he said some shite about Irish teams never beating Tier 1 teams away because it's bloody hard. Oh, dear. No minutes for Moran, not happy, says Dave McGuinness. Yeah, agree with you there. Mick McNulty, you need to go back to the drawing board. Look at the Irish rugby team. You need the players, let alone a new manager. Brandon Walsh, Kenny said in RT that even the great Irish teams of the past couldn't win against a Tier 1 team away from home. And defending his squad selections, he said that no player has been overlooked. I think Sammy Smonix might have something to say about that. Although apparently there is a family issue going on there and he can't be away for 10 days. I don't know what to do. And fair enough, we don't need to know if it's private. Dara says that if Stephen Kenny is not a top-level coach, then what about Robbie Keane, a pragmatist with a ruthless streak? No room for humanity or sentimentality. I think that's a little bit facetious there, Dara, but you might have a point. Brian Harding, Kenny's killer stat was that no Ireland team has ever beaten a top tier nation away because it's bloody hard. That's coming in there now. It's a quote, obviously, in his post-match interview. Margaret Doherty, think Damien Duff be worth a try? Play the top level when players would look up to him and probably won't cost the FAI a fortune.
Too soon for him, I think. Still a little bit too. He's still very raw as a manager, very highly rated. He's done unbelievable work with Shells, but there's a rawness there. It would all be about who brings in as coaches. Yeah.
He's done a great job of Shells, a great job of Shells. He's brought him in. He's brought him up from the first division, and now they're like a top. I think top 5 they finished.
Yeah. Going to be playing in Europe. Yeah, going to be playing in Europe next season. Yeah,
he's done a great job. But look at the stress that job takes out on him. Imagine managing the Irish football team. I don't know. You probably see him smoking on the sidelines. Sure, like he looks like he's aged about 20 years, doesn't he? Looks like.
Well, I mean, if you think Stephen Kenny spins things, I'm a big Duffer fan, but he'd be spinning it even worse, you know. So.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Who was his most successful manager? Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
You know, Duke Clancy didn't finish second bottom of the table though. No, we didn't. Well, we have, haven't we? Have we?
Well, don't they discount your? Well, no, it's only if it comes down to whatever goals and bits and pieces. But don't they discount the bottom tier? Oh no, that's only in a 6-team group, isn't it? So yeah, never mind. Yeah. I'm talking short. Right, I've never kicked the ball in my life, Dave. So
you never kicked. Yeah, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. John Buckley, too early for Duff. Brandon Walsh, Hugh Clancy normally get points at home and away against big teams. In fairness, that's about Kenny's comments. My money is on Damien Duff for the job, says John Foy. Adam Cavanagh, the worst interim manager provide a lot of anxiety. Noel King is rubbing his hands somewhere.
Oh Jesus! His last game for Shells last night, by the way.
As women's manager,
women's manager, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they were devastated. John Buckley, Gus Poy wants a job. Give it to him. No. John Foy, pay no heed to the bad mouths complainers. You do a great job. Thank you very much, John. We do appreciate it. We try our best. We're not, we're self-funded. Self-funded here, and we love doing it. We love speaking to you guys. Sorry we couldn't get any interviews with any of the Irish fans, but it's just pissing wet. It's just nowhere really you could go, and anywhere you couldn't go into.
They're not in any fit condition.
No,
particularly Martin.
But no, I mean, I hope they all go home okay. Martin Shields, I live in Germany, went to a Bundesliga game and a scan machine broke to enter the stadium. Within seconds, it's replaced with humans who ask ticket stub and ID to match the name on a ticket also. If you don't have ID, don't have the ID number from barcode taken to the match ticket name, takes 10 seconds as long as a scanner. That works. I think that goes on there a little bit. Glenn Forbes, Alan Brown played so bad he looked like a Man United midfielder. I think he's upgraded his previous comment. Really hope Martin has better luck with the queues back in town, says Latch Echo. Hope so. Hope everyone's okay. Dave McGuinness, what's crazy is there's still people calling online for Kane to get a new contract. I'm meaning it. A fan base with a section that other fuck with. No, I mean we're not calling for that. Dara Callahan, hi there. How you doing, Dara? Hello from Thessaloniki. Where's that?
Greece. I was actually there during the summer. Thessaloniki.
I knew that. I was just testing you. What about Robbie Keane? He's got a ruthless streak, no room for sentiment, will pursue his own self-interest and ride roughshod over the rights of Palestinians. Oh, we're getting political. Let's try to avoid that. Just very quickly, Robbie Keane. No, he was doing all right at Maccabi Tel Aviv until early rugby came to
doing very well. I mean, look, he's a very strong squad there. I think that's kind of worth noting as well. I know he's got Rory Delap in there. Look, I don't think so, not for me. I think the relationship with the FAI is maybe not severed, but it's definitely tainted. So I just don't know how that would happen, to be brutally honest. Yeah.
Fair enough. Noel Duddy gives us a little bit of a history lesson here. And so ends the worst qualifying campaign since Euro 72, when we lost 5 out of 6 qualifiers and drew the others. Thank you for that, Noel. There you go. Yeah, at least he hasn't got the worst one. Frank Gowan, Matt Doherty should fook off. Useless. Glenn Forbes, agree with Nick. In some of the early games, it was great to see Aaron pass the ball and was exciting to see players like Benny get an opportunity, easy for me to say. I really hope the next manager can grow those roots. It doesn't take a lot to succeed at the international level. Some good organisation and playing to your strengths. Thank you for that, Glenn. Jude Clancy. Thoughts on Neil Lennon and Keane a couple of months ago. I thought it would be a bad idea, but they need character in there to rough things up and get those lads interested. No, I think they are managers from a bygone era. And I think if you're going to put some of those lads in there, because they're modern footballers. And if you look at someone like Evan Ferguson, you got De Zerbi as the manager. He's he is a modern manager. The modern manager, Nick, he protects his players, doesn't he? Unless you're unless you're Ten Hag.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at Eric Ten Hag, who is possibly one of the more contemporary managers that has that old school approach in terms of man management. Like, I mean, if you look at someone
very well
like,
for him.
But if you look at someone like Enzo Maresca, who was with Man City, he's now with Leicester. They're top in the Championship. Like Brian Barry Murphy came from that same system within the Man City academy. Someone like him, Lee Carsley. Well, I mean, he was there a good bit before Maresca and Barry Murphy. Like they couple the modern day man management with the modern day, coaching, hands-on management style of football. So, that's what you'd hope to strive for. But again, as I said, this team needs a seasoned international manager who will get the best out of limited resources, and that is Hervé Renard. But we won't get him. We can't. We just can't afford him. Simple as that.
We can't. Probably couldn't afford me at the moment. And for me, no, absolutely no to Roy Keane. It would be carnage. It would be fucking entertaining. It would be absolute gold. But in terms of a development on the pitch, it would be absolutely awful. Just has a manager for 10 years, and even an assistant manager, he just causes noise wherever he goes. And no, it's not what they need. It'd probably work for the first couple of games, and then all of a sudden you'd be kicking tactics boards and all this. He's better off where he is, and that is a pundit. So anyway, we'll move on. We've got to finish this up. It's nearly 12 o'clock here. Margaret Doherty, good players don't need to be taught how to move off the ball. It comes natural to good players. Fair point. Noel Duddy expands on his point earlier. Until his campaign, Ireland never lost more than 5 games in a single qualifying campaign, both for the 1970 World Cup and for Euro 72. Thank you, Noel. A bit of a historian there. I love that. Dara on YouTube goes, at least we're not Gibraltar, but the question remains, who are we? Something to ponder, lads. We're bloody terrible. That's who we are. Sebastian Knowlton, fuck me running. Thank God this campaign is over. Survivor Series of the weekend. God, that takes me back. That's wrestling, Nick, in case you're wondering. That's the old WWE, or F as I used to know it. Dave McGuinness, hope to see you both in the Claddagh Ring on 14th of December. Yes, you will. That is an evening with Liam Brady, and we have something very special for that coming up. Me, basically. I am the surprise. Thomas Brennan, should Jake O'Brien have been drafted in? Start last week against Leon ahead of Dejan Lovren. I mean, to be fair, Lovren. He's still playing.
Yeah, I can't complain with the back three tonight. Darragh O'Shea's an excellent player. He, struggled a bit tonight. Nathan Collins wasn't at it, but he's starting the Premier League every week. And Scales did fine. O'Brien would have been on the bench. He wouldn't have played. I don't think so. I mean, Shane Duffy is essentially in there ahead of O'Brien, but no, he's going to be an excellent player. He's a massive, massive player. He's about 6'6", O'Brien, and he's actually very good in the ball as well. Got his first goal last week for Leon. So his time will come.
Time will come. Glenn Forbes, safe home and great work. Don't slip on any Ted rubbers in the streets of Amsterdam. Good man, Glenn. Thank you very much for that. Frank Gown, time to go. One Irish team, the same as the rugby and cricket. Only way forward. Won't happen
for another day, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Shields, shells are in Europe. You're welcome from St. Pat's.
Oh, you bastards. Anyway.
Derek Kane. Kenny couldn't motivate an alcoholic to have a drink. Ronan Tilly, one thing Kenny has mastered in 3 years is verbal diarrhea. Hold on, we got some more comments and then we're going to finish it up. Sebastian Knowlton, Derek Kane, I laugh because it's true. Dave McGuinness, let's talk Kenny being go when he's riled up. Bollocks. A manager should be motivated 100% of the time, not just when he's riled up. I know people in the League of Ireland have been in his past dressing rooms. He's not miraculously different to what you see on TV. Allegedly nice man, but who fucking cares? He is a nice man. Dave McGuinness said the FAI can get Keane back in, they can get Duff back in. Lee Carsley next says Toffee Ed. I go with you there. Martin Shields, Roy Keane as manager, Neil Lennon assistant, has WWE wrote all over it. And that is where we're going to leave it, guys. Thank you so much. We are going to take a little break, obviously, tomorrow, because I've got to get back from Amsterdam. And then we are going to have a preview and a little bit of a review here. And we'll get a bit more from Martin. That is going to be on Monday, Saturday, isn't it? Yeah, Jesus. Well, it's Sunday very shortly. On Monday, we're going to have a live preview. I'll be in Dublin anyway, so we'll be doing that live. And then, of course, we'll have the pre-match and the post-match aftermath. Stephen Kenny's era will be coming to an end against New Zealand. who knows what's going to happen. But anyway, listen, thank you very much for tuning in. And yeah, we hope to see you guys on Monday. We'll leave it there. If you're in Amsterdam watching this, safe home. Thank you, Nick, for joining us as well. And thank you guys for giving us another chance when we sort of mucked up the first bit. That was my fault.
It's always your fault, Dave.
It is always my fault. I thought it would work. It clearly didn't. But anyway, listen, lads, good night. God bless. And we will see you, and I never get this right with the end bit, we will see you on Monday.